Court is calling the case of Nathaniel Thompson versus Barbara Neal, Davis Circuit Court, Division 2, 15 CI 208. Petitioner is present with counsel. Are you Barbara Neal? Ms. Neal is present. Ma'am, you don't have an attorney, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then also present are the maternal grandparents, Pamela Neal and William Neal?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and the Neals are present with counsel. This matter is set today for a hearing on a motion to intervene filed by the Neals and Mr. Flaherty's objection. Is this a legal argument, or is this, do you wish to offer proof as well?
We would like to offer proof, Your Honor.
Okay, all
I
right.
think it's necessary for the court's analysis.
And we only have 40 minutes left, Judge,
Yes.
so.
Yes, we have 40
Okay.
minutes. We had scheduled an hour for this. So, all right, Mr. Offel, if you'd like to call your first witness.
Certainly, I'd like to call Pamela Neal. If you can step up there and have a seat at the witness table.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Speak up loudly so
Okay.
we're recording it, okay?
Okay, Ms. Neal, that black object in front of you is a tape recorder, so try to speak into that for the record.
Okay.
Try to speak as loudly as possible. Try to give yes or no answers instead of the uh-huhs and nuh-uhs, because the court reporter can't pick that up. To start with, can you give your full name and your address for the record?
Pamela Gale Neal, 1241 Rose Hill Drive, Owensboro, Kentucky, 42303.
Okay. And the child, this case revolves around, we'll use the initials here, EJKN. Since this is public record, we don't want to say a child's name. I just need you to refer to those initials, okay?
Yes, sir.
How old is EJKN?
She's 2.5. She'll be 3 November the 27th.
And can you tell the court how long you've been a part of this child's life?
From before birth.
What do you mean when you say before birth?
We went to her ultrasound and heartbeat exams.
And was there a reason you were involved with your grandchild before birth?
Well, the father wasn't involved, so we felt she needed the extra support, and we wanted to be there for our granddaughter and our daughter.
What kind of support are you referencing?
Emotional, spiritual, financial.
And when you say you believe she needed that support, is that because you reached out to her, or did she reach out to you?
Well, actually, at first we were kind of upset a little bit, that we were afraid we would be raising, a child, and I wasn't happy about that, but that just dissolved the minute that she was born. It was a mutual decision to help our daughter and to love and cherish our granddaughter.
Before the child was born and when you were assisting your daughter Barbara, where was she living?
Well, she lived with us some. She lived with Nathan, and then he asked her to leave when she was 4 months pregnant. I received a phone call that she needed to get out, and she came to our door crying that, she needed somewhere to go.
How long did she live with you, Miss Neal?
She was with us when she had Ella, and even after Ella was born, she lived with us for about 3 months after Ella was born.
And what precipitated to make her leave your house after those 3 months?
She was ready. She wanted to be on her own. She came back after a couple of weeks once again, and then we got her an apartment after that.
Can you just describe to me some of the contact you had with the child during that first year of the child's life?
Sure. We were there when Ella was born, from the moment of birth. Actually, during Elizabeth's 13 hours of labor, we were there with her. Then we were there when she was born. We were there through, the first weeks and months, and ever since we've taken care. We shopped, fixed up a bedroom for her, crib, custom blankets, and all just the normal things that you would do. All the first coos and smiles, and the crawls. She did her first. She did what we called the Army girl crawl. She crawled with her arms, and then she began to crawl, and all of those things. Her first steps.
Well, that all sounds very nice. Did something happen to change that positive outlook?
Elizabeth would drop Ella with EJKN, I'm sorry, with us, and leave her with us, and for days, and sometimes up to 2 weeks at a time, and just she couldn't handle or whatever, ask us to take, and of course we loved her so much we were just willing to take care of her. We just wanted the best for her.
When did your daughter first start dropping your grandchild off for you to parent?
Right after she moved out, when Ella was about 3 months old.
Do you have an approximate date for that, Miss Neal?
I would say February of 2013.
Now, can you describe to the court, you say she dropped the child off. Where was she when she dropped them off? Where would she go to?
I don't know.
Was she at your house?
No. No.
Now, let's fast forward a little bit. Now, is it correct that at some point the juvenile court became involved with this child?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the court approximately when that was?
I believe that was November of 2014.
Can you briefly describe for the court what events led up to that juvenile case?
I felt like that Elizabeth was on drugs again from her behavior, and just not taking care of Ella like she needed to be taken care of, and so we felt that we had no choice. We tried to reason with Elizabeth, and eventually came to the conclusion that we needed to go to CPS for help.
Were other arrangements made besides just going to CPS around that time?
Elizabeth said that she wanted us to take care of Ella, that she couldn't handle it, that she wanted Ella to be with us, that she felt that was what was best for Ella.
Can you describe in detail what she said to you?
That she was in a bad way, and by that she meant that she was on drugs.
I object to what she meant.
Yeah, you can't talk about what was in her mind, just what she said,
Okay.
what you saw.
Okay. Elizabeth's behavior was erratic and hostile, and very just erratic. And we knew from previous experience that we felt like she was back into drugs again and felt that something needed to be done.
What was your understanding when she made those statements to you about you taking the child? What was your understanding of what she meant by that?
That she
Your Honor,
wanted us-
again, it's the same objection. She's asking her what she meant by something she said.
Sustained.
I'm not asking what Barbara meant. I'm asking what you gathered from that conversation.
Judge, it's the same objection. It's
No, it's a different question. What was the witness's understanding? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking for?
That's correct.
Okay.
based upon what this lady said,
Overall.
of what she meant.
Overall.
Okay.
Okay. Now, can you answer that question?
Yes, I believe that Elizabeth wanted us to raise EJKN.
And did you take steps to raise that child?
Yes.
Can you describe what those steps were?
Well, we just took care of her as much as possible. We had her. We took care of her needs financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and just did everything to take care of her and work with everyone involved.
What were you doing to financially support the child after that November date?
Oh, well, I mean, we fed and clothed and just everything that's involved, diapered and any extracurricular activities, those kinds of things we would pay for and do.
Was your daughter, the mother, providing any of those services to the child before November of 2014?
Well, she would buy some things for Ella, yes, but we did the majority of everything for Ella.
How about after that November date? Did the mother participate by financially supporting the child any time after that?
No, sir.
Did she support the child at all?
No, sir.
Did she pay you any kind of
No,
child
sir.
support?
No, sir.
What kinds of things did you do immediately before November 2014 to parent the child, besides financial support?
No, wake up in the morning and we just totally focus on Ella. Take care of her, bathe her and clean her, and if she's sick, take care of her. Anything that she needed, we would take care of.
Between November 2014 and the birth of the child, was petitioner Mr. Thompson involved with the child's life?
Nathan became involved. He would have visitation with Ella. He wasn't there when she was born. He did, I believe, Christmas. Elizabeth reached out to them for EJKN to have a visit with them, and there were visits, monthly, every once in a while, or every couple months. I'm not exactly sure when. Oftentimes, it would occur. They would come to our house and pick up Ella, Nathan's mother, or mostly Nathan's mother, Betty. Yes.
Let's move back to the mother for 1 second, Ms. Neal. Can you tell the court what the longest period of time was that the mother went without seeing this child?
I believe about 2 weeks.
During the last, let's say, 6 months, what do you think the longest period of time is that the mother spent with the child?
Oh, in the last 6 months, just a few hours. She's gone a couple of months without even seeing Ella.
How about before November? What do you think the longest period of time your daughter spent with your grandchild was?
A few days.
Now, Ms. Neal, were there other circumstances around that November 2014 date that may have made it difficult for Barbara to parent her child?
Yes, sir. She was arrested and went to jail.
Can you just describe that in a little more detail for the court?
Yes. She was a failure to appear. She had absconded with Ella, and then she was arrested for a failure to appear and was in jail for several days.
Can you clarify what you meant by saying she absconded with the child?
She did. She took the child, and I'm not sure where she was. Actually, she was with her for about 3 weeks at that time. I forgot about that. Sorry.
Was that before the November date you referenced? where
Yes,
she
sir.
Turned the child over?
Yes,
to you?
sir.
Do you know where she was at that time?
Not really. No, sir. I don't know. We looked for her, but didn't have much luck in finding her.
And Ms. Neal, to your knowledge, does the mother have any criminal charges pending right now?
Yes, sir, she does.
Can you briefly describe those for the court?
I believe there are harassing communication charges and theft over $500 and under $10,000.
Where is your daughter living right now?
She's living at the Bullware Center.
Is that subject to court order?
I believe so.
Ms. Neal, do you know if there are any other circumstances we haven't covered that would have precipitated with you parenting this child after November?
I can't think of anything at this time.
Can you briefly describe your relationship with the child in this case?
Oh, she's just wonderful. She's the center of our universe. We love her dearly and want the very best for her.
And we have attached the affidavit of Barbara Neal, and she's in the courtroom today, to your motion. Do you know whether she supports your motion to intervene or not?
Yes, she does.
Why do you say that? Has she told you?
Yes, she has.
At this point, do you think she's fit to be raising a child?
No, sir.
Would you have the ability to, if you were allowed to intervene, help to co-parent this child?
Yes.
Do you want to co-parent this child?
Yes.
Do you think it would be in the best interest for you to co-parent
I
this child?
definitely think it would be in the best interest.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Ms. Neal?
We just want the very best for Ella, for EJKN. It's been very difficult not being in her life as much as we were previously, and I feel it's been very difficult for her as well.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Neal, do you have any questions? Okay. All right. Mr. Flaherty?
You have been given an opportunity by the sole custodian of this child to co-parent this child, have you not?
Yes, sir.
And he has, without court order, before we were here in April and prior to that, voluntarily let you and your husband have this child, has he not?
Yes, sir.
And you and your husband have both been very difficult and uncooperative in what Nathan has allowed you guys to do, haven't you?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that line of questioning. There's no foundation for the assertions Mr. Flaherty has made, and I don't think it's relevant to the motion at hand.
All right.
Well,
It's somewhat argumentative. Let's lay a foundation.
well, let me lay a foundation then. Do you recall in March when Nathan voluntarily let you and your husband have this child on March the 3rd of 2015?
You might refresh my memory.
Okay, this would be the time when Betty came, the paternal grandmother came to pick up Ella at your house, and you called the police on her.
I recall that, yes, sir.
And you told the police that she was drunk.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this line of questioning. I don't see it as relevant.
Judge is rebutting what he had her testify about everything being light and wonderful and wanting to co-parent. And I'm showing that this lady is incapable of co-parenting this grandchild with this family.
Your Honor, I think the testimony that's been given concerned the relationship between Miss Neal and her daughter, not Miss Neal and Petitioner Thompson.
All right, I'm going to sustain his objection. Let's focus on why we're here today, more so than, this is not a custody hearing today. Today's a motion to intervene hearing.
Well, I thought it was too, but with the questioning that
Well, you didn't
Mr.
object.
Opal.
You did not object.
Well, I didn't know where he was going.
Okay,
Everything
well-
was wonderful with this child.
Okay, well,
All right.
the opinion today will be focused on a motion to intervene.
Right.
And not as a custody. So if you will
Let me,
limit.
thank you, Judge. Let me get to that. You stated in your affidavit and you and your daughter have similar names. I want to make sure. All right. You said that on November 7th, 2014, Barbara Neal, that's your daughter, was arrested, and the child subsequently came into the care of myself with William Neal and the petitioner herein, Nathan Thompson. My daughter, Barbara Neal, asked me and William Neal to continue caring for the child, financially supporting the child, and allowing the child to reside with us on a permanent basis.
What are you reading from?
Her affidavit that was filed back in March.
This would be attached to our motion to intervene, Judge.
Are you telling this court that your daughter voluntarily, intentionally waived her superior right of custody to that child on November the 7th?
Along and about in there.
Okay. Now, you know that's not true, isn't it?
No, sir.
Did we have a hearing on juvenile court on Christmas Eve of 2014?
Yes, sir, I believe.
And was your daughter asking the child to be returned to her?
I believe she was asking the child to be returned to us or her.
No, no. There was no motion to the child to be returned to you. Were you and your husband not with her on Christmas Eve?
She wasn't.
I wasn't there, no, sir.
Okay. Who was there with her?
My husband.
Okay. And she was asking the child to be returned to her at that time?
I'll object to that line of questioning. I believe the answer is established that Miss Neal was not in attendance at that hearing. Furthermore, I don't believe that Mr. and Mrs. Neal were allowed to attend those juvenile court proceedings.
Yes, they were. They were there.
Well, I think, didn't she just testify she was not there?
I was not there.
Okay,
so
but your
she-
husband was.
So I don't think she
Okay.
can answer the
All right.
question as to what happened there.
All right. Did you and your husband file a motion with juvenile court to get custody of that child on Christmas Eve of 2014?
No, sir.
No. Now, do you also, who was representing her at that time?
Steve Bowling, I believe.
Okay. Are you aware,
You should have had him
okay, I'm
first.
sorry. Are you aware that her attorney filed a petition in circuit court, or was proposing a petition in circuit court to get her custody of this child. Were you aware of that?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Are you going to ask that to be amended?
Yes, I want that to be marked, Your Honor.
Okay, any objection? Are you asking it to be marked or entered? I'm sorry.
I want it marked for
All
identification.
right, let's mark it first, and then are you asking that it be entered?
After I go over.
Okay, all right. All right, I'm gonna mark it collectively as one, and this is, 1, 2, 3. There is a petition and an agreed order, so there's
Right.
5 pages.
Okay. I'm going to show the previously marked for identification purposes as Exhibit 1. Can you read into the record what the title of that document is?
Petition for custody.
And who is the petitioner?
Barbara Neal.
Okay, and what does number 1 say?
The petitioner is the natural biological mother of the parties, minor child E.N., date of birth 11/27/12. The respondent is the natural biological father of the aforementioned child.
Your Honor, I'm
you-
going to
Wait a-
object to
wait a
this
minute.
line of questioning. Pat, has this been filed of court record?
No.
I'm
Judge?
going to object on the basis of attorney work product. I'm not
It was sent to me by her attorney, Barbara's attorney, Steve Bowling, in January of 2015. This refutes her sworn affidavit that this lady intelligently, voluntarily waived her superior right to custody.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Overruled.
Thank you. Now, show me in this petition to establish the custody of this child where you and your husband are. Are you mentioned in that at all? This is your daughter's petition.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, attached to that, excuse me, I don't mean to reach across, there is a proposed agreed order that was sent in 2015 by Barbara's attorney for agreed order. What is she asking for? And let me help you with this. Read number A under the therefore, it's hereby ordered.
The parties shall have joint custody of the minor child, with the petitioner being the primary residential parent.
And I'm sorry, who's the petitioner?
Barbara Neal,
And it is dated
2015.
2015. Now, this seems to indicate to me that she has not surrendered her primary right to custody to you.
Well, Mr. Flaherty, all I can do is tell you what Elizabeth told us, so I don't know about this petition for custody.
Show me any document that she signed other than this affidavit prepared, you know, in preparation of this motion, where she voluntarily surrendered her primary right to custody.
I have no such document.
Show me where, when we were in court on Christmas Eve of 2014, which is over a month after you're saying, in fact, it's almost 2 months after you're saying she surrendered and voluntarily gave her superior right to custody to you, where she said that in court.
That was said in court. That most definitely was said in court.
No, she said that she wanted custody and for you guys to have her, but she did not waive her superior right to custody, did she?
Oh, well, perhaps not.
No. And as you said, you weren't there anyway.
I wasn't there for the 24th, but I was there several other times.
Several other times.
Yes, sir.
I was specifically asking about the 24th.
Okay.
Now, tell me why you're asking to co-parent and because in a motion to intervene, you're claiming that you need to intervene because it would be in the best interest of this child.
Yes, sir.
And you've had hard time with the relatively simple task of cooperating with the sole custodian, have you not?
You know, at first it was very difficult because I feel like toes were stepped on both sides.
Yeah, you mean by
But
calling the
we-
police on his mother?
No, sir, that's not what I was referring to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Your
part
Honor.
of it, but
Wait a minute.
Can we admonish Mr. Flaherty to allow Ms. Neal to answer the question he's asked before interjecting?
Yes, let's let her finish, and then you can ask the next question.
My question is to you, and I don't think your answer was responsive. How are you going to co-parent, and how is it in your granddaughter's best interest if after the father has voluntarily given you visitation rights, that you can't get along with them even in exercising that?
I think that things have been going well. We are at the police department, dropping Ella and picking Ella up. I take Ella and pick Ella up from daycare. We would continue to provide for her financially and emotionally and spiritually and physically, as we always have.
Did you not get into an argument with Emma at the police station and yell at her with the child present?
No, sir, I did not argue with her, and I did not
Did you
yell
raise your
at
voice to her?
I said that something needed to be done about the daycare.
In a loud voice?
I
I can get the tape from the police
my
department,
voice- well,
which is
you-
already being ordered, by the way.
That's fine.
So you may
Your Honor,
want...
Mr. Flaherty is badgering this
Yeah,
witness.
let's.
I'm not
let's-
badgering, I'm just
All right,
asking her to
let's-
be honest
All right,
about...
well, let's not be so confrontational here. Let's.
Did you get a
slow-
letter? I'm sorry, Judge.
Let's slow down, and first off, I don't know who Emma is, so let's.
That's
explain.
his fiance.
Didn't
What?
know that.
Wife.
Wife, I'm
That's
sorry,
who-
it's his wife.
Okay, didn't have that information.
Yes,
so-
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's,
Did you get a letter from the county attorney's office regarding your treatment of his wife?
I believe the letter from the county attorney's office had to do with Nathan and his wife.
Okay, not to have any contact with them.
It was, if things persisted, I could be charged
Yes.
but I've never been
Yes.
charged.
Now, the first week you had visits under the agreed order where Nathan voluntarily gave you and your husband visitation. Did you not take this child to the doctor without informing Mr. Thompson?
Well, that wasn't the first week that we.
Just answer my question. Did you take the child to the doctor without
Yeah.
telling him?
Yes, sir, I took Ella to the doctor, EJKN to the doctor.
Did
Yes.
you call Nathan and say there's something wrong and we want to take her to a convenient care to the doctor to see what's wrong with her?
I did not. The previous time we had her, I had told them that she was ill, and she was still ill, and I took her and she had bronchitis.
And the doctor prescribed antibiotics, did he not?
Yes, he
Did
did.
you later find out that they had already taken the child to another doctor and he had also prescribed antibiotics for this child?
That was,
different.
Just answer the question.
that was, came in a paper that I saw that you had said where I had interfered, and that the child had had antibiotics. No, we weren't told that she was having antibiotics until that paper that we saw from, that you had submitted. I don't know what it's called, a order, I don't
Well,
know.
you say you weren't told. Had you bothered to contact the father and tell him you were taking him to the doctor, maybe he would have told you. Don't you agree?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this line of questioning. I think we're veering back towards the best interest custody sort of determinations and not focusing on motion to intervene. None
It-
of these have relevance to the intervention of
It has to do,
respondents here.
it has to do with the best interest, Your Honor, and that if she cannot, and Mr. Neal cannot get along with the father when he is voluntarily, when he didn't have to, give them visitation time with the granddaughter, how are they going to co-parent this child? How is it in the child's best interest for them to intervene as a party if they are calling the police on these people, if they're taking this child to a doctor without consulting them, and they don't even have, they're not even a party yet. They just have visitation time with
Well,
this
we're not
child.
talking about co-parenting today. We're
Well, that was
talking about-
their term, not mine.
Okay, well, we're talking about whether they should intervene. Let's answer this question, then let's move on. Were you told about the antibiotics?
No, I was not told about the antibiotics. I didn't know Ella was on an antibiotic. No antibiotics were sent with her. No medicine was sent with her.
And no phone call was made before you took her to a doctor,
I
correct?
made a phone call to the mother who gave permission for treatment.
You're talking about your daughter?
Yes.
But he's a sole custodian. Was she in jail yet, or is she in rehab at that time?
Neither.
Neither. Where is she now?
She's in the Bullware Center.
Rehab.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you cooperated with social services?
Yes, I have.
And tell me how you've cooperated with social services since April of this year.
Well, I've heard nothing from them, but they were allowed to come in my home whenever they came, and
When was that?
goodness, I think the last time was maybe January or February.
Now, my question specifically said after we were here in April and reached an agreed order.
I'm open to cooperating with anyone as far as Ella's concerned.
Okay, then, if that's true, why did you call the police on his mother?
I feel like that I would want someone to, I thought I smelled alcohol on her, and if I felt that someone smelled alcohol on me, I would want them to call and make sure. I want my granddaughter to arrive safely. I would have to live with that forever if she did not, if something happened to her and I didn't say something about it. I asked the Betty, she told her that she could have Nathan or Emma come and pick up Ella because I felt that she had been drinking, and she said no, that she was going to call the police, and I said, well, that's good then, I will do.
Now, the police department determined that there was no smell of alcohol about her.
Well, they didn't do a breathalyzer. The police officer had her blow her breath on his hand literally, and he smelt it.
Now, ma'am, you know that is not the truth.
Oh,
You
I know that's the
refused-
truth.
You refused to give the child back even before you had a face-to-face with
No,
Betty.
sir, that is not true. Absolutely not true. I've never refused to give Ella back.
The officer indicated that not only did he not detect any alcohol on the breath of Ms. Cooper, but she also submitted to an HGN test. Her eyes did not show the presence of alcohol. And then the officer had to talk to you before you let the child go, correct?
I did allow the child to go, yes, sir.
You allowed the child to go?
The officer said she was...
Was it your right to allow this child to go? What custodial rights did you have at that time?
Your Honor, Ms. Neal has already testified as to the reasons why she did what she did.
Your reasons proved to be unsubstantiated, isn't that true? Isn't that true?
I suppose it was, yes, sir.
You still won't even admit to this point that you were wrong about Miss Cooper having any
Actually-
alcohol in her system.
Excuse me, Mr. Flaherty, actually, I said to Miss Cooper, I was wrong. Here she is.
Well, why wouldn't you just say that to the commissioner?
I was wrong.
So what makes you think that it's in the best, with all, and we just scratched the surface, and because we only have an hour, we got like 4 minutes left. We've only scratched the surface of the tension between you and your husband and Mr. Thompson and his mother, correct? And his wife. Is that a fair statement?
I always have and will continue to do what I believe is in the best interest of my granddaughter.
Now, that's an open-ended statement. Now, My question to you is, do you feel that friction between you and your husband and the father of this child who has sole custody is in the best interest?
No, sir, I do not.
And there has been, has there not?
There has been, yes.
A lot of it.
No, sir, I would not say that.
So what is your fear if you're not included as a party, if you're not allowed to intervene? Why do you feel that's important?
It's important to Ella, to EJKN. She
No.
misses us tremendously.
Judge, I'm going to object to her state of mind. That's twice she said that in one sentence.
Okay, you can't tell me how the child feels. You can tell me actions that you see or
Okay.
things that you see, but you can't tell me what the child feels.
My question is, what is your concern if you're not allowed to intervene?
Ella comes in our care every other weekend with bruises, eczema that is easily taken care of, that is not. All you have to do is put cream on it and it's fine. She is constantly congested, and she was given a antihistamine prescription allergy medication called cetirizine that is rarely sent with her. I've had to request that medicine be brought and gone to pick it up because Ella's congested or snotty. And I've asked the father what medicine we should give and what we need to take. So I consulted with the pharmacist when there wasn't a medication. They said to
I'm
give
gonna
her.
back to what a pharmacist told them.
You can't tell me what the
And
pharmacist
that's
tells
kind of
you.
getting
Okay.
off what I'm asking anyway.
Okay, all right, let's go back.
You're concerned about her medical condition.
I'm concerned about her medical condition. I'm concerned about her whole physical, spiritual, her whole well-being, everything about her I'm concerned.
So you
About.
don't, I'm sorry, I thought you were finished. I'm sorry, are you
Go
finished?
ahead, Mr. Flaherty.
Okay. Are you saying that Mr. Thompson is not a fit parent to raise his child?
I'm not saying that Mr. Thompson is not a fit parent. I'm saying that it is in Ella's best interest for all of us to work together to raise her. It's not fair to Ella to be taken away from us abruptly as she has been when we were taking care of her on a full-time basis.
So you want the child full-time, you want to take over as parent?
No, sir, I do not.
Now, this
I-
child hasn't been taken away from you. He agreed here in court, he offered every other weekend with you without the necessity of a court hearing. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir. You know, the every other weekend, though, is
Not
way
enough.
less than what we had Ella.
It's
And I'm
not your
saying that
child.
that's difficult
All
on
right,
her.
Mr. Flaherty.
I'm
let's
sorry,
let-
Judge.
Mr. Flaherty, let's not raise our voices. It's not
So
needed.
that's your problem because it's not what you got used to
No, sir.
when he wasn't allowed in the picture.
No, sir. It has nothing to do with me. It's about my granddaughter and what's best for her.
So you've seen bruises. Are you alleging that they beat this child?
No, sir, I am
Well,
not.
why did you mention that?
She has been hurt several times at daycare. Several times.
And how would you prevent that?
Well, after it happened the second time, I would take the child out of that daycare would be what I would do, but that's me personally.
So the bruises were that bad.
Yes, sir.
Did you report that to social services?
I have reported things to social services.
Since when? Since April?
Not since April, no.
Okay. Did you discuss it with Mr. Thompson before you went to social services?
Well, I tried to have a conversation with Emma about it and the police station.
Listen to my question. Did you discuss it with Mr. Thompson before you reported to social services?
No, sir,
No.
I did not.
Now, you understand this is Mr. Thompson's child. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I understand that.
You've had a chance to raise your children, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now your older daughter doesn't have custody of her children, does she?
No, she
And
has
this
a
one's
child.
this one just got out of jail.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this entire line of questioning.
Sustain.
But now you want to raise his.
Your Honor, I'm going to renew my
Sustain.
objection.
That's what she said.
She did not say she wanted to raise that child.
You said you wanted this child to the extent that you were used to having. Is that what you said?
I want what's best for my granddaughter.
Okay, let me ask you the question again. Did you tell the court that you wanted...
Your Honor, I'm going to object
To
as
the
asked and
extent-
answered.
Wait a minute. Ask the question,
Okay.
and then I'll let you object.
Did you tell the court that you wanted, that every other weekend wasn't enough, that you wanted the child to the extent that you had her when Barbara left her with you?
All right, Mr. Alpha, what's your objection?
My objection is it's been asked and answered less than 1 minute ago. The exact
We've
question.
asked that, and I actually don't think that's what she said.
She said she
Well, that's why I'm
wanted
giving her the-
what was in the best interest of the child.
No.
All right, let's move on.
How much did you have the child during the period that you're talking about?
You're going to have to clarify that.
Okay, when you said every other weekend is not enough, I want her to the extent I had her in the past, what extent was that? What schedule of time did you have Emma back then?
I had EJK up to 2 weeks at a time. I have documentation of where I had Ella even after November, all the way up until March, 3, 4, and 5 days a week.
Is that what you're asking the court to do in this case, once you become a party?
No, sir, I'm asking this court to intervene and to be a party
Party, yes.
to Ella's upbringing.
And once that happens, what are you going to ask the court regarding a division of custodial time? How much of the time are you going to ask to have Ella then?
Well, we haven't discussed that yet,
Who's we?
my husband and I.
Well, you now have the child every other weekend, Thursday overnight. You had a week at summer, and you're telling
We
the court.
haven't had a week.
Well, that was part of the order, was it not? I don't know what you got, but that was part of the order. But is that sufficient for you?
No, sir, that is
No,
not
it's not.
sufficient for me, no.
So the whole purpose of this is not to keep in contact with Ella, but that you can become the primary residence of this child, correct?
I wouldn't mind to be the primary, but I just want what's best for Ella. I'm expecting the court to determine that, and I am going to have to go by that decision.
But what you're going to ask the court is that you be the primary residence of Ella and not the sole custodian father. Is that what you feel the best interest of Ella is?
I may do that.
Is that what you feel the best interest of Ella is?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Judge.
All right, we're going to have to get another time, I assume.
Well, it's inevitable that, and which, Jesse did as well, go over into almost like a custody hearing. The motion to intervene is more of a legal argument. I think the court knows where these parties have been standing for some time. And I think I would like the court to make a decision on it. I don't know how far we're going to go on this testimony.
Okay, well, it's not my intention to make a custody determination.
Exactly, yeah.
The motion was to intervene. Mr. Alpha said he wanted to offer testimony, so that's where we're at.
All right.
Now, are you going to have additional testimony other than,
Your Honor, at the very least, we were going to ask Miss Barbara Neal to have some input onto this decision because it was her that was
Okay.
transferring her custody.
now,
rights.
based on what we've just heard and from this witness, do you intend on offering testimony on the motion to?
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
be
well, then we
required
have to have another hearing.
All right.
If Ms. Neal is going to want to testify and you want, I assume, your client to testify, then, and we're limiting it just the motion to intervene, we need another hearing date. How much time?
Well, probably, I'm gonna have you and your mom testify, social services. Therapist. And the therapist. We're gonna have social services, a therapist, him and his mother. I'm assuming he's gonna have Barbara and Mr. Neal. Who else?
Judge, I wonder if a motion in limine may not be appropriate for this, because as much as Pat keeps saying he's only offering evidence based on our motion to intervene, what he's saying now is it sounds like a custody determination with the therapist and other witnesses who weren't a party to this, for lack of a better word, a transaction between daughter and mother regarding her custody rights.
First of all, Mr. Ophel opened the door. He started out with, oh, I've been there since birth, and I've done this, and I've done that. So he opened the door on that. Secondly, I don't know how the court can make a decision on what's in the best interest of this child in reference to them intervening if it doesn't know the extreme difficulty that these people have had with Mr. and Mrs. Neal on the relatively simple task that he gave them of exchanging this child every other weekend. So, you know, we've had to get the police involved. We've had to get the county attorney involved. These people have bordered
Okay.
on the
All right.
irrational.
All right.
So I don't know how you can get to that decision without hearing that evidence.
Okay. You asked for a hearing, we're gonna have a hearing. I'm gonna let you present your side, let these people testify, and I'll let you present your side. Mr. Flaherty, I need to know how many hours you need for this hearing. And this, again, is not gonna be the custody hearing, so.
Right.
This will be the motion to intervene, that's gonna be my limited decision, once I hear the evidence. But we've started this, you've asked for a hearing, you filed the motion. I'm gonna give Mr. Flaherty an opportunity to respond, along with Ms. Neal, have an opportunity. So, again, my question is, how much time do you need?
I think at least 3 hours. What do you think?
I have 2.5 hours on September the 9th, which is very soon, next week. If you don't want that, it probably will be if you don't want that, it's probably gonna be November.
What time is?
September the 9th, I have 1:30 to 4.
I'm sorry, I can hear.
September 9th, 1:30 to 4.
I got a bunch in the morning. I could probably do the afternoon. I don't know
Wanna do
that that's going to
1:30
be,
to 4?
I don't know if that'll be enough time to finish, but
I would encourage you, and someone needs to pay for this hearing as well. No one paid for today. I may have, I guess, pushed over some of the money that you all didn't use on your 2 hours. I don't know if we were here for 2 hours on the 27th. But
They always pay for it.
Yeah, I believe,
they
Your
asked for
Honor,
continuance.
you did order the petitioner to pay for today's
I
hearing.
think that's because you or your client had a conflict with
I
the
did.
last hearing.
I did.
Okay.
And
All right. Well, here's what we're gonna do, because I believe your clients did pay for 2 hours
Correct.
for the other, and we didn't use all that time. So we will wipe the slate clean as of today, but we need to, each of you needs to pay half of the hearing next time. You're both offering proof, and right now, that's what we're gonna do.
so that's the 9th of September
Next Wednesday.
from 1:30 to when, Judge?
4.
4, okay.
All right, and let's try to get this hearing, let's try to complete this hearing so that I can make a decision on the motion to intervene. And then we can go from there on the custody case afterwards. Okay. Now, do you have any questions, ma'am? Okay, do you know that we're gonna have a hearing on September 9th at 1:30? Okay, and we will proceed. If for some reason you're not here, we're gonna proceed without you, okay? Okay. All right, Ms. Flaherty, anything else?
I don't think so, Judge.
Ms.
Thank
Roth?
you.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll see you back September 9th at 1:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.